Hello everyone and welcome to game 1 in a series between Polt versus Nerchio here on Antigua Shipyard. I am back better than ever, had a little bit of a retreat over the weekend, didn't eat for 30 hours. So that was, I guess that wasn't much of a retreat, but it was still a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and get into the game. We have TSL Polt spawning on the top left hand side of the map as the red Terran player. Meanwhile, we have Acer's Nerchio spawning on the bottom right-hand side of the map as the blue Zerg. So Zerg versus Terran here on Antigua Shipyard. A little bit tired this morning, but hopefully I can get through this. Not too exhausted, so hopefully I don't start rambling about decks of cards or, you know, the flavor of the ice cream or anything too crazy like this. So taking a look at the matchup so far and how things are going on, looks like Nerchio will be trying to spot out when this particular expansion will be taken down, and we'll see what the openings are going to be. Now, last time I believe on Friday when I started to cast some StarCraft, the strategies really haven't changed very much. It really has been a lot of barracks into reactor Hellion play to try to control creep tumors. Meanwhile, a Zerg player, if they are able to really freely mine and really freely power drone, getting a really strong advantage in the early game. Drone now making its way around. It may be trying to go for a 14 hatchery. Yes, it is going to be a 14 hatchery. One drone doing a scouting, and another drone now going to go ahead and grow up to be a hatchery. Meanwhile, taking a look inside Polt's base, Polt is not going for gas. So without gas, I believe a faster command center will be taken, and both players are going to be trying to go for that economic game, meaning the game will be just a little bit longer. So far, Nerchio hasn't built a spawning pool as of yet. Meanwhile, this drone is going to go up the ramp in just a moment, scout out that barracks. I believe a supply depot may be placed down. No, a supply depot has yet to be placed down, so Polt is going to know, or sorry, Nerchio is going to know exactly what Polt is trying to do in this game. SCB is making its way down, and oh, nice use of that supply depot there. If you guys didn't see the April Fool's joke, I guess Polt did, and he was using that supply depot to raise and lower and make sure that drone was unable to block this one particular command center. You already see that the hatchery is about 2/3 or actually 80% completed now. We are going into an extractor and a spawning pool. Nerchio will be a little bit delayed economically, just because of that early gas, but he is not really going for that third hatchery as of yet. Sometimes Zerg players do try to go for that early third hatchery, but that's rather dangerous, especially against a Terran player who can then just crank up his bio production, use a lot of barracks and use a lot of marines, using that bio force and then moving out, especially when you do not have banelings yet, as you did go for a much faster economic opening. So far, Nerchio is trying to get 100 gas. Most likely will be starting that metabolic boost in just a second. And both of these players are just getting a feel for each other. They're trying to see what their opponents are doing, and they're trying to figure out what they can do in the long run. A factory is being placed down by Polt in addition to a reactor, so we are going to see some reactor Hellion play. And 3 Marines is a good number to stop at. With 3 Marines, you have just enough to 2-shot a Zergling. And if those Marines constantly fire at the same one, you can kind of stutter step them, especially if your opponent doesn't have metabolic boost just quite yet, and deal that necessary damage. You can see that there are currently 3 Marines here against 4 Zerglings. Once those Zerglings do get within combat range, one Zergling, is it going to be able to make it out? Yes, it does, just in time, down to 6 hit points. One more shot would have destroyed it, but no, those Marines are now backing off. Reactor Hellion will be coming out next. We'll see if a new hatchery will be placed down, and this is going to be a little bit of a sticky situation for Nerchio. If the Hellions do come out in time and are able to deal damage to this third hatchery, say before roaches are established, then Nerchio will be behind. Otherwise, Nerchio will be significantly ahead, as he's going to be running on 3 bases, and his production is much higher. Harvester count is already 31 to 25 with 7 more drones coming into play. You can see that there are Zerglings now trying to do a quick run around. A nice Zergling split there. Nerchio will get some easy damage onto a Hellion, as it looked like one particular Zergling was trying to perhaps get some SCVs. Not that many SCVs were lost. Nope, one worker was killed. that was it. Perhaps the scouting one earlier, as we now see Polt. No, Polt has not done any scouting yet. So one SCV was taken down with the Zergling, but now we see Hellions doing finally their bit of scouting. Hellions gonna come up the ramp, take a look, see that there is creep over here, gonna make sure and see that a third hatchery has already been placed down. And with 4 Hellions, we'll see how much damage that Polt will be able to do. There is no spine crawler, interestingly enough, by Nerchio, and that is a rather weird and cautious play. Most Zerg players do go for 1 spine crawler at the very front door, and this may be a bit of a problem for Nerchio. Nerchio being very aggressive in his expansions, as those Hellions are just driving and just constantly flaming all of those queens. The queens are in a bit of trouble, but a roach finally joins out in the fight as well. Roaches are much stronger than those queens, dealing more damage and having a little bit more range, so that is going to be enough to hold him off, as Zerglings now hold this set of destructible rocks. Nerchio has about a 20 food advantage, 13 of it currently sitting in drones, with more and more drones still coming underway. Polt about to finish his front door wall here. All of these Hellions will be backing off, and as these Hellions back off, we'll see what the next follow-up strategy will be. Nerchio on 3 bases, meanwhile Polt sitting only on 2. No additional command centers to be seen, but we are getting the level 1 armor upgrades. Level 1 weapons upgrade already, I believe, was already completed. Nope, has not been completed. It is actually just being double researched. So 1 engineering bay here, and the other one just directly above it. I did not spot that, and I like this play by Polt. Polt getting double upgrades. He should be starting his armory sometime within the next 25 seconds to continue all of that research. And with that much research and that many upgrades, this is going to spell a serious problem, as we now see that Zerg just starting some of those upgrades. Hellions trying to battle up against Roaches. Roaches, however, winning easily in that fight, as the Roaches can almost one-shot and some of those Hellions there. I think perhaps one Roach was taken down, and now we'll see what's going to be happening next. Overseer doing a quick flyby, sees everything that is going on inside the base already. Armory is being established. It looks as though the armory will be completed slightly after the level 1 weapons upgrade, as the Marines are now continuing to chase. The Roaches do not have the glial reconstitution, so this is going to be a little bit of an issue here, as the Marines are now trying to back off. Zerglings getting in some easy damage. Roaches do not have movement speed upgrade, and the Marines, are they going to turn around and perhaps try to fight? No, they do not want to go up against Roaches without Marauders, but here we go, finally getting up onto a high ground there. The Marines, the Hellions absorbing much of the damage, but the Marines are the main DPS here, and the Marines are going to be fighting up against many of those Roaches. Those Roaches are in a bit of a problem, taking down multiple Marines, but really not exchanging cost effectively, as the Marines now look to push in up on that 3rd base. There are Zerglings, however, and creep tumors. Creep tumors are going to spell a significant problem, as those units move so fast, and now some Overlords may be shot down. Zerglings and Banelings now trying to come in. Banelings not able to find their target. 1 medevac low on hit points, but not the medevac that was getting attacked, and there you see it. The medevac's able to just simply retreat and return all the way home. Nerchio does have a slight food advantage, a supply advantage at 23 food, and Polt is trying to establish up his 3rd base. Zerglings are not upgraded at all. Meanwhile, combat shield about to be completed, and level 1 weapons and armor upgrades have already been completed. Zerglings unable to really do anything here, lowering the supply depots there. The siege tanks could have stopped attacking, but no, instead got in a little bit of slash damage on the supply depots themselves. Roaches looking to now take down the set of destructible rocks. The rocks will fall, and once the rocks fall, it will open up another entry path for Nerchio to establish another entry path, and perhaps get in a little bit more harassment. A 4th and a 5th base now being taken by Nerchio. Nerchio a little bit weary. If he's able to get these bases up, then he's going to have a very nice advantage. If not, then the 3-base Terran with those mules may be able to get in enough damage and push this all back. You see 86 drones versus 64, but somehow there are 6 mules in play, and those mules are going to be more than enough to give a nice bonus to Polt's economy. Drones now being transferred over here to the 6 o'clock expansion location. Meanwhile, roaches being attacked or being trained up and going to be moving up on that front door. Spire now being added. Infestation pit already established, as we are going into infestors as well. I'm not sure if we actually finished the pathogen gland research. Yes, we have. So those infestors are going to have 75 energy the moment they pop out and look to deal a lot of that damage, as one overseer now being shooed away. The overseer does not have a pneumatized carapace, so it doesn't move faster, but still able to move fast enough to outrun that marine as soon as it hovers over here. Nerchio now with a 31 food advantage. We'll see how it's going to work, as Polt going to be going into 3-3 upgrades sometime around the 17-minute mark, and that is going to be huge. 17 minutes having 3-3 upgrades against 1-1 upgraded Zerglings and Roaches, and I believe Polt, he's going to hit the food cap faster, or he's going to hit the food cap at about the same time Nerchio tries to hit. And what Nerchio is going to really have to rely on is how effective all of those infestors are. The infestors spell is not affected by Terran infantry armor, so that is a very important thing to note. There is additional hit points on those marines and marauders, or sorry, on those marines with the combat shield, but that is essentially it, as we are now also going into a greater spire. Medevacs, siege tanks now trying to destroy over here. Here we go, a nice, very strong flank. Infestors now getting in some fungal growth. Nerchio trading, but is he trading effectively enough is the question. More and more infestors are getting taken down. Banelings not really able to find their target, as Nerchio takes a very, very heavy hit. And Nerchio really overexposing himself here, now in trouble, but he did free up a lot of food, but only training about 4 corruptors now. So with only 4 corruptors and perhaps 15 Zerglings, we'll see what will happen next, as more and more corruptors are being added. So that was a rather interesting trade. Both sides losing a lot of resources, but I really think, yeah, Zerg losing the majority of that, as now the production tab shows Greater Spire about to be completed, Corruptors about to be completed, and a lot of Zerglings out in the field. The Zerglings going to take down a lot of these siege tanks in the center of the map. Polt in a bit of trouble, losing some siege tanks there. Losses getting about a little closer together, as we now see Zerglings were able to run inside the third base as well, since these destructible rocks were destroyed. Polt going to clean this up with 2 Marines and Marauders, but now we are going into Broodlords. 7 Broodlords will be making their way out into the field in just a moment. Marines going up against a Queen. There is still plenty of harvesting going down over here at the 6 o'clock location, as more Zerglings now going to just run by and perhaps take down these Marines, these Marauders. SCVs coming off the mineral line to try to join in on this fight, and this is buying precious time. Polt may end up losing this command center. He should be lifting off in just a moment. 1-2 Zerglings, there we go. Not going to lose the command center, but it is getting low on hit points already, as Zerglings perhaps could just simply run in and now get inside the main base. Nerchio up already back to 173 over 151. Corruptors are being added in the air. Zerglings, where are those Broodlords? In comes the fleet of Broodlords. I guess a murder or a swarm of Broodlords now. Vikings now being trained, but it may be too little too late, as Corruptors are here to escort. Here we go. Broodlords now dropping in. There's a fungal growth, and a beautiful one at that. And now the Corruptors are going to be going after those medevacs. Broodlords do not have any weapons upgrade. The Broodlings are 1-2. No weapons upgrade on them, but still being able to generate units like that in a very swarmy effect. Very nice by Nerchio, as Nerchio going to perhaps try to take down another expansion, or probably establish another expansion, or just continue applying this pressure. The Corruptors, in comes the Broodlords and the Corruptors. The Corruptors taking a little bit more damage than they should from the missile turret, but still enough to focus down many of those medevacs, as the Vikings are now trying to make their way in. The Corruptors have to be careful because of the Thors. The Thors are going to be able to deal some splash damage, as Zerglings are once again running rabid inside the third base of Polt. Polt will be able to clean that up. There are a lot of Zerglings, and now more Banelings being added once again. Corruptors now joining in on the fight. Zerglings joining in. Nerchio, both sides very, very max-sized army. Who's losing more units more quickly? Banelings now trying to make their way in, but Banelings without movement speed. That is something a little bit odd about it in this game so far, as we now see more and more Broodlords getting destroyed. We are now down to 3 Broodlords. More Broodlords now trying to be added. Thor is now perhaps going to try to take down these Broodlords. There's only 1 Broodlord left, or 2 Broodlords left, as we are now getting more and more Broodlord cocoons. Corruptors getting destroyed. Nerchio, I believe if he had actually researched Baneling movement speed, this would have been a completely different game. Level 3 vehicle weapons upgrade, and now Polt looks like he's going to be able to hold this and perhaps do a counter push, as we are now moving into a planetary fortress at the center location here. Infestors and Zerglings trying to make their way in. Some fungal growth damage being dealt, but not that much, as Corruptors are now being forced to retreat once more. Infestors need to get away, and Nerchio is in trouble as he is now behind by 50 food. Let's take a 50 supply. Let's take a look at the army count. 3,800 versus 1,600. More Corruptors now being added, but more Broodlords being added as those Corruptors are morphing, but this is still not looking good. Polt with 5 Thors on the ground, and those Thors having level 3 weapons upgrade will be able to destroy Mutalisk if Nerchio tries to transition. Also, those Thors dealing an amazing 78 damage per attack. You can see how quickly it's able to take down one of those hatcheries there. 3 Thors absolutely destroying a hatchery in just a matter of seconds. And now Thors, Marines, and siege tanks looking to attack on what I will believe is the final push. 200 over 200 for Terran, 150 over 200 for Zerg, as we now see movement on the move once more. Marines making sure there are no more expansions in play. It is now 4 bases, the 4 bases. Polt also establishing a planetary fortress here at the starting 7 or 8 o'clock position. Polt looking very, very nice. Zerglings could try to take down the command center, but the command center should be able to upgrade to a planetary fortress in time, as more and more Zerglings are now trying to make their way in. Will it be enough? We are going to get a surround here. SCVs need to get over there, and in a hurry, command center. Oh, it looks like it is going to be canceled, as the Marines are now trying to go after those Zerglings. Zerglings going after SCVs, and Polt able to easily clean that up. Meanwhile, Polt didn't. Polt has cleaned up this expansion off over here at the 3 o'clock position, and now Nerchio says GG, and in a very, very I don't think that meant to be bad-mannered. I think Nerchio was just wondering how he lost that game. He had a significant advantage, but I really think he didn't have Baneling movement speed. He sacrificed Banelings for no real reason going up against Marines. And without the movement speed, and with those Marines, although they are not an effective counter or cost-effective counter against Broodlords, with stim and sheer numbers, it was enough. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 1.